Hi everyone, welcome with me to a summer at Georgetown and Columbia. In this video, I'll be featuring a couple lectures and fun things that I did, and I really hope this would be a great way for you to see how fun it was over the summer there. Obviously, to start, you can't have Georgetown and DC without all of the monuments. So of course, that was one of the key field trips that we went to. My program was for international diplomacy, so we talked a lot about international relations, how foreign affairs works, but also the balance of domestic and foreign policy. What made the night at the museum extra special was not just that I got to spend it with my friends, but was definitely these brilliant fireworks. We went to a lot of places like the Jefferson Memorial, the World War I Memorial, the Lincoln Monument, and here we obviously went on a major scavenger hunt to try to find my state. And thankfully for me, I found it before I had to head back to our bus. And here we are at the ever-famous Lincoln Memorial, where you get to see the Gettysburg Address, and also get to see parts of his inaugural speech, and of course, a statue of Lincoln himself. Now, throughout my time at the camp, where I've recorded these snippets to show you what it's like, we had a UN sim, a world sim, and a ton of lectures on both leadership and what it meant to be an international diplomat. And this is the beautiful campus of Georgetown, which is one of the founding Jesuit schools in our country, and built on its Jesuit values, but also its values on public service. There is a lot to love about this beautiful campus. At our program, we got to learn a lot about different theories, political systems, how they interact with each other, and a lot of other things. Through our world simulation, we got to make our own country, create our own leaders, figure out what type of country we wanted, the type of economy, the type of political standing, and just about anything that you can think of that it makes to make a country. But with that, we also got to compete with other countries that were assigned groups to see who would be the most productive of them all. Additionally, we had a really fun UN simulation, which is pretty similar to Model UN. We did a simulation on the United Nations Security Council, where I played the part as UK in the conflict regarding Syria and its regime change. Now, it was a really cool experience to kind of put away our personal values and really look from the lens of the country itself. Along with that, we had a 5-day leadership conference, and it covered various skills on what it meant to be a leader. Along with that, we went on a ton of fun field trips, and here I recorded a small part of our bus right there for you to enjoy the scenery. As we headed to the entirety of the Smithsonian museums, it was really cool to get to see all of the different things there, including the really controversial picture of our president. Along with that, I was able to enjoy a really nice refreshment of lemonade, and me and my friends headed to the National Archives, where we got to see a lot of cool documents, including part of the original Magna Carta. This is the Magna Carta with the King's seal on it. Later on at the founding rotunda, we got to see our country's founding documents, obviously after stopping by to see a lot of the really cool ways they documented immigration back then. We got to see snippets of our founding fathers, their documents, and their lives, along with beautiful paintings on the top of the room. We got to walk around, see the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and even parts of our Constitution. And it was really cool to see all the iconic signatures, many of which me and my friends recognized. Here is a snippet into what it was like for a World Sim, featuring our country's flag right here. We named our country Munara because of our abundance of uranium and just spelled the name backwards. We got to make various sort of things, including trade agreements, writing our constitution, and so much more. We also got to see a couple NGOs, including the Greenpeace Corp, where we got to learn a lot about environmental safety, and going to the Korean Culture Center, where we got to watch a snippet of Golden, and it was super duper fun to learn about their culture. After heading to the Department of State, where we got to do our own simulation and ask questions on what it was like to do certain things. And the best part, you get to give tiny speeches if you wanted to and opted to, and answer questions into the microphone. We got to do a nice little worksheet and documentation there, and it was super fun being able to speak into the microphone and feeling the feels that a normal diplomat might feel. It was also really nice to learn about the Foreign Service exam, an exam that most diplomats and people who work in foreign affairs have to take to be able to participate in. I think the Department of State definitely gave a really great view into what it was like to be involved in both politics and international diplomacy. And here is a snippet of our food and the lovely ice cream we had there. Through our UN sim, we got to work on working papers, and it was really interesting to be able to see how different countries work together. Afterwards, going to the American Red Cross was really interesting in seeing how American medical societies had to work with international societies as well, with, for example, the Geneva Convention. We also got to see the impact of the American Red Cross throughout our country, and especially World War I and World War II, really showing how politics and law isn't the only thing that plays a crucial role in diplomacy and foreign affairs. And the garden behind is what memorializes tons of people who died in service to the Red Cross, including all these other iconic historical figures who did more than just medical service, but also advocated for civil rights. But the most iconic part, the trip wasn't just at DC. We also got to New York. Right out of the Lincoln Tunnel, I took this recording of us entering the city, and the first place we went to was the United Nations Security Council headquarters. It was really cool to be able to see all the different artifacts there, and I found with the monuments of India, which I thought was pretty cool. And for all of you who love pop culture, they even have a Hello Kitty stand memorializing all the issues they want to focus on. With various art projects and getting to learn about how the countries contributed to the offices there, it was really cool to see how various countries, regardless of their differences, can come together to solve these issues. We also got to hear a lot about immigration, and I learned a lot at Ellis Island. There were even interactive videos featuring stories of various different people. And for those of you who think you might be connected to someone from Europe, you can always check the Ellis Island database. Here are tons of more immigration documents, showcasing what it was like for people who came to Ellis Island back then, what they needed to have. And what I thought was the coolest part is the fact that these are real documents, and these pictures are that of real people. So if you know someone that is connected to you from Ellis Island, you might just walk past one of your ancestors in their pictures. this is an entire map, and with the 3D map of Ellis Island, it was crazy to envision how such a small place in reality had such a big meaning to a lot of people, even today. We got to take a ferry there, but what made it super duper fun was another cruise that we took later, where we got to go on a sunset cruise with a bunch of our friends and the entire program, and then we got to sail past the Statue of Liberty. Walking in Times Square was always fun as it is, with tons of food trucks and food stands where we enjoyed a lot of food and, of course, a ton of shopping. Now, here is a snippet of my dorm at Columbia, where I was really lucky to have my solo room. We have a nice little desk in the corner right by the window, where you can see a lot of the city from there, which is nice because a lot of New York schools are campused on the city. We also got a really comfy bed and a really fuzzy blanket, followed by tons of dressers underneath, and overall, a really decently sized room. And this humongous closet right by my doorway. Since our stay at Columbia was only for about 3 days, I didn't really use my closet, but I will say that the room and the dorms are really big, and it's very fitting for a prestigious school like Columbia University. And out here is the part of the city I could tell you. A bit of the skyline and really what it was like to have city life on campus. There were also tons of stores nearby, including this short walk where I was able to record a bit of the campus at night. Me and my friends went to the supermarket a lot, and it was definitely nice to get a life in college where it was not just academics, but also grocery shopping and doing necessities with your friends. Enjoy the sunset cruise, and I'll see you later.